This is r/DnD Stories, where OP motivates his players by absolutely breaking their will to live.
This next contribution is from Peppermunch. Saved the world, altered history, and my character will never know. Our campaign had a wibbly-wobbly time arc. Basically, we had to collect all the pieces from a magical set of time armor, jump into 2 different planes of existence, and activate a beacon on each side in order to transport a journal back through time. The journal belonged to the lady named Blade, who was the catalyst for the end times, but we were banking on her not wanting it to actually be the end times and change her future. Long story short, everything works and the day is saved. Everyone except for the paladin, who was the one who went through time, forgets what happens because time is so altered that we were never heroes in the first place. In comes Tillison Nimmo, a human knowledge cleric. He is a stuttering mess of a human, an absolute nerd, that over the course of this adventure learns that life was a mistake of the gods and interpreted it as meaning life meant nothing. His solution to stopping Blade is to go back in time and kill her as a baby, and starts dabbling in necromantic magic due to the fact that because life meant nothing, the means were totally justified. Basically, adventuring is not good for him, but that was all gone. A friend and regular wizard NPC then shows up, restores all our memories of the alternate past, it's very weird, and Tilly starts to lose it again. While everyone is wrapping up their character arcs, apart from the paladin who isn't retiring her character, Tilly asks the archmage, "You gave us all these memories back. Can you take them away again?" Everyone is shocked. He explains that Blade got a second chance and he wanted one too. When he closes his eyes, he sees demons ripping families to shreds. He sees wars on all corners of the globe. Hunger, plague, destruction. He'd done his part in saving tens of thousands of lives, and this was the reward he wanted. The Archmage gives him one more chance to change his mind before making the irreversible decision to remove his memories, living in blissful ignorance of the fact that the world he is currently living in would never have existed if it weren't for him and his now unfamiliar friends. And that's how I retired one of my favorite characters. Boy, that one was a bit of a ride there. So your character basically almost became the big bad of that campaign after nullifying the person who was supposed to be the big bad of that campaign.
All right, so bear with me here. This was posted to r/DnD Stories, though it's technically not really a D&D story. It's more like an Ask a D&D Player, but I just enjoyed it too much to not share it here. Anyway, here we go. This is DnD Players of Reddit. What was the stupidest item that the DM gave? I play D&D a lot, and recently my little brother just DM'd a game, a one-shot, and he gave me a bag of chili peppers that when one is eaten, you will gain the ability to use the fire breath weapon attack of a dragonborn, and it will also deal 1 fire damage to you, and the chili peppers infinitely regenerate. So in the game, I was fighting an adult white dragon, long story, and the dragon and the party were on our last legs. So I force-fed the whole bag of chili peppers into our party's tiefling, and him, being immune to fire damage, did 18d6 fire damage to the dragon and instantly killed it. It was the highlight of the game. Alright, so down in the comments we have got this contribution right here from Rose as Cat. I played a character that never learned to swim. My DM solution was a life jacket sold by the town's wacky merchant. To give it buoyancy, it was made out of duck feathers. There was a pull cord on the chest. Naturally, I pulled it given the chance. This contraption would launch my character sky high, like 60 feet. It had a great use for emergency escapes. And down here is a contribution from Aussie Christian. As a reward, my bard got a carved orca. I don't think it does anything, but I haven't cast Identify yet. Well, don't keep us hanging here. Feel free to contribute what it actually does. SleazyT27 adds, I was given a playing card with the symbol of a rooster. Once per day, tossing it on the ground would cause a minor image of a rooster to strut around. Rolling a 1d20 on a nat 20 the rooster would become real. Silver Worldliness 41 adds, I gave my players a javelin that changes color with your mood. And then I'm a Fat Man adds, my old DM gave our rogue a robe of useful things that had a portable ram patch. The thing is, it spawned a literal ram, as in the animal. Now here's an interesting one from Grail Knight 23. When a character has a bad ending, the good guys lose and the BBEG wins, but you still have to run a session in the same world with the same characters next week. So I'm running an online 5th edition game set in a homebrew world a friend and I made. My players are the following. Hellmount, half-orc paladin of the Avalonian Pantheon, all-around calm, collected, and focused individual. Scoville, elven rogue follower of the god of the outcasts and the most pure and kind of the cast, despite being the rogue. Graham, human champion fighter, party tank, and a stoic but kind and gentle veteran soldier. Spritz, childlike gnome trickster, cleric, and follower of the goddess of innocence, wonder, and imagination. And finally, Hakath, half-orc barbarian, follower of Grestor, god of adventure, battle, and glory. The campaign is set in a time of war. My players are soldiers fighting to defend their nation from invaders, armies of demons and undead, as well as monsters and other terrors. My lads been together for about 12 sessions now. They work extremely well together, and it was time to introduce them to the BBEG's second in command for the first time. It did not go as the players had planned. Let's start with Hakath, a young, bright-eyed half-orc warrior. His orc father raised him alongside his human mother in their barbarian village on the Looting Coast. When the war began, Hakath's father left his now young adult son to join the defending Crusaders of Avalon. The whole campaign, Hakath has been looking for his father, excited to show him all he had accomplished, all he had won, the many victories and glories he had gained over the campaign. But just before he could, his father was slain by Simon Esthrak, the second in command of the Dark Armies. Naturally, Hakath was enraged. He and his beloved friends fought valiantly against terrible odds to break into Simon's fortress, reaching the Ark Warlock himself in the Black Depths. There, they fought a brutal 4v1 against Simon. Sadly, our cleric could not make the session, but Simon was a master of hexes and curses, reflecting damage and using vampiric touch to drain hit points. When Simon took damage, a member of the party would get hurt. In the end, despite his best efforts, despite giving everything he had to the fight, Hakath was slain by Simon. And worse, he was resurrected. Still sentient, but lacking free will, as Simon's minion. His party all fought to get him back, avenge him in some way, but they failed, and Simon took his prize and fled. A hero did everything in his power, gave everything to the fight, and was defeated, not even allowed to die with dignity. He is now forced to watch as he is used as a pawn of evil. My players were quite winded from this encounter, as was I. It was an emotionally gut-wrenching session. They are demanding that they get another crack at this warlock, and they will. But dang, I feel horrible for having the bad guys be that bad. Motivation is great, but to hear the utter hopelessness in my players' voices when he teleported away with their now undead slave barbarian, who was just emotionally dead himself as a player, that hurt me. Glad they're still excited to play still. In fact, they're demanding to. Yeah, wow, OP. That, actually sounds pretty epic. I'm not going to lie right there. Okay, so now we have this contribution down in the comments from the Parrygod27. Nothing adds to a story more than character death in my personal experience. I was playing a Goblin Paladin, and during an encounter with one of the BBEGs of the campaign, my character was insta-killed by a nat 20. Ooh. So as for the scenario, this fallen Solar called Pride rolled up to our base, intending to scare the doo-doo out of us as PCs. He told the gunslinger, "For your failed pride, one of you will die." Our gunslinger volunteered himself at the time, but Pride laughed, and then combat erupted. He blinded our party ranger with a spell, and as I was moving over to cure him, I got skewered on the greatsword with the nat 20 roll and instantly died, which at the time was very unexpected from everyone at the table. Our DM rolled with it, basically said as Pride, the fallen Solar, "Let him serve as a lesson," and then teleported away, and the party had to deal with the repercussions of their actions, resulting in a PC death that wasn't even planned for during the fight. In all honesty, it was a great moment because it got everyone fired up at the table to go hunt Pride down and clap his cheeks. Plus, I rolled up a warlock whose mission was to hunt down Pride and deliver his soul to be judged by the Celestial for his crimes, basically joining the devils in hell. And his fight was absolutely grueling, but we pulled through as a party and just kickstarted the whole campaign into fear of this quest for vengeance to avenge Ratshag, the small goblin paladin. So I know it sucks at the moment, but this is D&D. You've just given the party the driving force to actually go and deal with this threat. Even if they as players weren't too sure before, a quest for vengeance soon ignites the fires of war. That was r/DnD Stories, and this has been the Reddit Ranger. Now here's a question I have for you. What kind of stupid items have you guys had on your campaigns?